Hello, my name is Tarmack, and let me show you The Witness. This is a first-person puzzler done by the indie developer extraordinaire Jonathan Blow. He's got quite the following going on. Through his own company, Theckley Incorporated, released January 26, 2016 for $40 US on PC, so that's on Steam, and then also on PS4. In his own words, this was designed to be a game that is in the same style as Myst. So, show you how a lot of this stuff works. Now, you're going to walk around in your usual WASD sort of setup, which is totally fine. Your left mouse button is allowing you to focus on a particular puzzle that you're going to do, and your right mouse button lets you jump out of that focus. So obviously these first couple of puzzles here are very, very simple. We're just running down from one end of the puzzle to the other. And it is a very pretty looking world. You know, unlike a lot of games that come out these days where it's all beige, it's all dark and whatnot. This is extremely colorful, to the point of nausea in some cases, actually. And this is the first negative that I have for the game itself, is that some people are getting motion sickness from this. And I'm actually one of those people. I can only play it for about an hour and a half, before I just, I've got to take a break. It's too much. So the way that all these puzzles work, you'll see we've got cables running around on the ground all over the place. And what you need to do is you need to solve puzzles which then power other puzzles or other things in the world. So this one here, as we've seen so far, our goal is to get from sort of this base start point over to the curved end. I mean, we can go to these little square end ones, but that doesn't do us any good. So this one's a very basic maze sort of deal. We power that puzzle and we can see our cable that now has something going on for it. Okay, it goes over that wall. So let's see if we can find where that one goes. Aha, there it is. So now we've got ourselves another, again, basic maze puzzle. Now I'm doing this on the PC right now. So I'm doing this with my mouse and keyboard. Again, WASD. You can run from place to place. If you hold down shift, it'll let you run. So here we got another power cable going up this way. Let's see where it goes. Okay, so it came right back down to another, and again, more complex puzzle. So in the case of some of these ones, I mean, a lot of people, they'll look at it and say, you start at the end and you work your way back. Okay, no, that's good, fine, that gets us there. But this is a very simplistic look at the game to begin with, because these maze puzzles really are not a large part of the game. There's a lot more to the puzzle design that's going on here than just these maze ones. So we've got that power cable that's coming over to this great big door. Obviously we want to be able to go through the door at some point, and that cable opened up one piece of the lock. So we've got these other two cables now that we need to do the same thing with. So let's follow this left one first. So that brings us over here into this room. Great, fine and dandy. So this one has two starting points. We have the left and we have the right. Now, which one is going to get us there? So we start at the end, work our way back. You know, it doesn't look like it's going to be the left one. So that's fine. We'll take our right and move our way through the puzzle, get ourselves to the end. So in theory, and theory turns into practice, this gets us our second piece opened up. So now we've got our last cable, which runs all the way over here and up over that wall. So let's go over and take a look. There we go. Up and into this room. So as you can see, like I mentioned, it's a very pretty game as far as the landscape goes and whatnot. Now this one's a little bit different, so hang on. We've got our cable that comes that way, and we've got another cable that's going up off into the window up there. So if we run to the bottom power here, so our rounded edge down on the bottom right, this will power the cable to the door, And then the top one will power this cable that goes off into some mystery land somewhere else. So let's take a look and see if we can get this one sorted. No, that's not the right way. Which way are we going to go? Oh, we were going the right way. Okay, so there we go, up and around. So again, we could power the top one, or we can continue on down and power the bottom one, which should remove that last latch on the door puzzle. Now, one of the things about The Witness that I've seen a fair amount of criticism, and, you know, when I first looked at some of the content that I'd seen, some of the videos, it really bothered me. Because I look at this game and I say, okay, great, so it's just a whole bunch of these little puzzles. Like, that's it. It's nothing but these puzzles. And that is true. It is. It's nothing but these puzzles. However, the world gets a little bit more interesting as you go. So this one, I don't think it really matters which way you get to the end as long as you do. That removes the power from this door, and now we're out into the open world, so I can show you just how beautiful some of this island is. Now, I wouldn't say that it is amazing from a graphical standpoint. It looks really good. They've got some good lighting, great shadows, and whatnot throughout the game. The water looks nice and crystal clear. It's more, to me, it's the aesthetic of it. It's the way that everything... it's so much more optimistic than most games that you'll see. So, continuing onwards, what you'll notice so far is that there isn't any audio, or any music specifically, rather. There's certainly audio. You can hear your footsteps, which is all fine and dandy, and you'll want to pay attention to that because sound actually plays a role in the game as well. There are a couple of puzzles that I've run into so far where you have to listen to the sound in the area in order to survive, or not survive, in order to solve those puzzles. Now, I don't want to get too far into showing you how all of these puzzles get solved, but you'll run into a number of different areas around here where there are a bunch of screens side by side, and this is designed to teach you how to do the puzzle. Right, so this one, again, very, very simple. This is a tutorial setup, so you need to deal with this and try and just go straight to the end. Okay, well, that doesn't work. It shows off in red. Well, I have to do something with these. So let's just clear those out, and it lets us pass on through. And you have the same thing here, right? Again, same deal. So how do we want to handle this one? We can go that way. That lights them all up, which is fine and dandy. Now, Jonathan Blow has mentioned that there is no, not really much in the way of music in the game. I haven't run into any so far. I'm probably 5 or 6 hours in at this point. And I had to restart just to do this video. So there isn't music, but you've got a lot of that ambient sound. You can hear the trees, you can hear the various triggers. So in the case where you solve a puzzle and it does something somewhere else, you can hear that, so you can go and try and hunt and figure out what it was that it did. Now, when it comes to difficulty, I have to say that the game gets very difficult very quickly in some areas, because now we're open world. We can go wherever we want and we can try things out. We don't have to go and sit through this tutorial piece. The problem with that is that you're not going to learn how to do some of the other puzzles, because you're going to find out that a bunch of these different puzzles combine elements from earlier puzzles in the game. So you kind of have to learn how to do each of these different things along the way in order to pull this off. Now, beyond that point, I should talk a little bit about options and performance. The option menu, as you can see, is basically nothing. Now, normally, this is frustrating. Normally, you want to be able to customize a lot of these things. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to give Jonathan Blow a bit of a pass on some of the graphical options. And the reason I say that is the way that he's designed this game, shadows and lighting are also very, very important. Now, not to spoil anything along the way, but you will use shadows in solving puzzles. You will use light reflection in solving puzzles. These things are actually important. And so if you have too many graphical options that let you shut off different pieces to run on lower hardware or something like that, you could actually harm the experience of the game itself. It's very hard. There are some puzzles that you'll bang your head against for a while, And eventually you just have to give up and go do something else for a bit because it's just too infuriating. But it is also a game that will have you almost cheering with joy at your own intelligence. You know, as egotistical as that is, when you figure out a puzzle that you've been working on for a while, the feeling is quite incredible. It actually is. It's something that not a lot of games give you these days. It used to be something in the old, point and click adventure games. You would have that same feeling. You know, my family and I, we were playing Monkey Island, and we got stuck in this part where we needed to get the head of the navigator from the cannibals on the island. And we were stuck there for months. This is in the days when, there's no walkthroughs on the internet or any of that kind of nonsense. And there was an item that we had in our inventory we just didn't even think of. It was just a little leaflet that had the title, How to Get Ahead in Navigating. You give that to the cannibals, they give you the head that you needed. That's simple, and we all cheered with joy when we found that out. So this game's a lot like that. You've got a lot of different puzzles that have some real variety to them, and even some that you have to actually deal with some interaction in the world, which is something of a criticism that the game has faced, so far at least, is that, it's nothing but line puzzles. Yeah, that's true, but okay, you need to play a little bit more. There is some serious variety here that is worthwhile. Now, I do want to show off as well, and this is something that I'm going to be doing in the Let Me Show You series going forward, is alternate control schemes. So right now I'm using the mouse, and you can see it's the usual mouse look. We've got our run, we've got all of that kind of stuff. Left mouse button to focus, right mouse button to pull it back. So let's take a look at the Steam controller. All right, so on the Steam controller, the left thumb stick, is how you're going to move your character back and forth. The right thumb pad, is how you look. And you can see even, compared to how I was doing it on the mouse and keyboard, it's a little sluggish, a little awkward. And you're going to hold down or click down on that thumb pad in order to sprint. When you get to a puzzle, you'll use the right trigger in order to focus on it, left trigger to pull back. And while you're focused on it, you're going to use that same right pad in order to solve the puzzles. So it's a little bit awkward. I find that using that pad, I don't know. It has this really slow feel to it. I don't really like it on the Steam controller myself. But then I find that the Steam controller, generally speaking, is not really good for games that are first person. It's not my favorite thing in the world. So, next up, let me just solve this again, make sure that it's okay. Next up, I'm going to show off, this is going to be the DualShock 4. So we'll pull back out here. So DualShock 4, you're using your left thumbstick to move, your right thumbstick to look, and everything is just a little bit smoother. I find that this is a lot more enjoyable myself than the Steam controller, but again, not as enjoyable as mouse and keyboard. So you're going to be able to, again, focus on your puzzle, and this time we're using the left thumb trigger, or thumbstick, in order to move around in the puzzles. And I find that in that case, there's something tactile to it that is just a little bit more enjoyable than using the Steam controller. Steam controller, I find, is useful for different kinds of games, generally speaking. So, what does it come down to as far as this game and what I want to recommend? Is it fun or not? It is. It's pretty. It's very enjoyable once you get into it. The first little while, you're doing a couple of these tutorial puzzles, you're getting bored. It doesn't really grab you early on, and this is a problem with the game design as far as what Jonathan Blow has put together. Now, I don't know if he could have done it any differently. I really don't. He has to teach you how to play this game. It is different than most other games you'll ever play. It's not like the Talos Principle. It's not like Myst. As much as he wants to say that it's, that's what guided him, the puzzles here are nothing like a lot of those games. It's like a mobile title with a very, very pretty veneer. But again, he has to teach you how to play it. So I think it's worthwhile to play. I don't think that it's worth $40 US, which is its launch price. That feels high to me. Yeah, it's got a lot of puzzles. Yeah, it's got some good production value. But at this point, he's trading on his name a little bit more than perhaps he should. The game itself, I would say it's worth about 30 if I was a price-conscious individual in this particular case. But it is fun. It is certainly an enjoyable title. Came out on January 26th on Steam and on PS4. Again, $40 US launch price. Jonathan Blow is the creator. He's the guy that did Braid. And it's an interesting title. I think it is something that is maybe worth your time if you enjoy puzzle games, if you enjoy banging your head against, a difficult puzzle. Maybe I wouldn't go that far. But if you enjoy that kind of title, then you really should play this game. You just might want to wait until it's on a little bit of a sale. That's all I got to say for you. This is The Witness, and I'm having a good time with it. I need to get back to a couple of other more difficult puzzles, but now I got to start all over. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Tarmack. This is my Let Me Show You series. A little bit of a first impressions on The Witness by Jonathan Blow. Cheers. Bye-bye.